Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel today for another review. Terrell and I are ready to jump into the review of the new film, DUSK for a Hitman, coming to digital and on demand April 19th. Brought to you by the good folks over there at Saban Films. So we just checked out this film. Definitely have a lot to talk about with this one. But before we get into all of that, this is a French Canadian film, which means it is spoken in its native language with English subtitles. It does not take away from the film at all. But in fact, what I did appreciate is when you start to see films, different international films, you notice like the toning and even like especially when it comes down to like action or horror, or even drama. If you are only consuming American products, you notice that like things feel and operate and move totally different. I have not watched too many, and I think this is safe to say this is more like a, I don't know, do you want to go like a crime thriller drama? I'm not sure where I land the genre exactly, but for what it's worth, this film isn't a genre within with it being a French Canadian film that I've seen so much of, but I definitely appreciate it because it felt very different. It felt very unique in its own, just by how certain things were happening in the films, and it wasn't just the traditional cookie cutter sort of a plot building like how you would get with American films. But
Right.
nonetheless, I definitely want to highlight, like, if you come into it and you're like, this feels like a little different, and I want to talk about what those little differences are, because yes, it is a French Canadian films, which means that they're going to represent, they're going to take certain liberties that American films probably wouldn't take, but I didn't have a problem with it at all. Terrell, let's just get right into it. What did you think of this new film, DUSK for a Hitman, which is going to be releasing very soon, in just a day or two here? What did you think?
Yeah, man, it's my type of movie. I mean, like you said, I mean, it's a crime thriller. As somebody that watches a lot of foreign films, I definitely see what you're saying. I definitely see what you're saying. Like when according to American films, it's really weird what we show and what like kind of the subject matter is, and a lot of like American stuff versus like foreign stuff, or what they'll show in foreign movies versus like American movies, which I think is weird because we're the gun country over here, where we're all about violence and beating each other up, stuff like that. But it takes a foreign film to take that and do it with a little bit more nuance when it comes to violence. You can have a heavily violent film and it still be tasteful. You know what I mean? Like it's not just a bloodfest. This movie is extremely tense. This reminds me of watching like Goodfellas. Like one of those Scorsese joints where like the whole movie, your heart is just like you just tense. Like you don't know who's gonna get got. This is that movie, and they did a really good job of telling this story. And like you said, watching this with subtitles did not affect this at all. I mean, if anything, it probably made it made it even better. In Quebec, and the Canadian, Canadian. But no, it was a really good movie, man, from start to finish. If it's hour and 40-50 minute run, didn't feel like it overstayed its welcome.
Yeah. And for me, I think one of the biggest things, and yeah, I think we land on this being like, a crime thriller for sure is the genre. The biggest thing for me is that after I was done watching the film, I researched, was this actual real story? They
I was about
build
to say.
this as if it is a true story or based on true events, which tells you just how convincing the writing and the developments of this film was. Like, I did enjoy this film. There were some things I had problems with. There was definitely some particular plot elements that definitely had me scratching my head a little bit. But what I truly enjoyed was the character work. They definitely had and gave you a lead, that the lead gave you so much unpredictability in where this character was going to go, what was next. it's just wild. It was just kind of wild. Before we actually get into the plot, I just want to defer back to you really, really quick. When it comes down to like the production of this film, what did you think about that? Especially with this is again being an international film, a foreign film. What did you think about the production, and just overall, just like the visuals and all that other good stuff with it? And by the way, this film did sets it's taking place in 1978 to like 1980, so like you also get that time period aesthetic. So in the sense of it being, you know, in air quotation marks, a period piece, what did you overall think about the production of the film, the costume designs, and all that other stuff? And you know what, I just really quickly checked again. So while I did like article research, it does not, nothing did pull up by saying this was based on true events. But I don't watch trailers. You don't watch trailers. I just quickly glanced at the trailer. The trailer says it is based on real life events. So that's it's an interesting story. So let me just cheat ahead real quick and let you know that for everything that happened in the film, you want to stay all the way through the credits, because at some point, if you decide to take a peep at your watch, you start to wonder, how is this all going to solve? Right. It does not give you the entire story, but the credit stuff will tell you, you know, give you the updates and the results of certain events that happen in the film to sort of give you a period at the end of that sentence. So like, yeah, there's a lot that could happen with this character in the story, but they get to a certain point and the credits give you the other updates that you may need, and they just kind of leave it at that. But yeah, go back into the production stuff. What's your thoughts there?
I mean, that's definitely one of the things I was going to bring up about this. You know, like I said, like being almost a period piece, basically. I thought they did a really good job of, even though this wasn't like a large scale thing, but I mean, it's like as far as like the budget,
it's very independent.
right. You can tell, like it's not like it's not a ton of people in the movie, but it also feels like it's pretty big. Like this was like a whole, I don't want to overuse the word universe, but like this whole syndicate, this whole crime scene that we basically only got like a crumb of what was really going on, because we were really focused in on this one character, and we didn't really get a chance to really see a lot of like how the operation ran. But we, like I said, we really get a kind of more so like the movie wanted you to sympathize for this hitman. But I thought they did a really good job of, like you said, when it came down to the clothing, the cars, even the color of just some of the backdrop and stuff like that, the towns, the motels they were in. I mean, they did a really good job of making sure a lot of that stuff stayed accurate. You know, I'm sure there's somebody on set that has to make sure nothing, you know, there's not a Starbucks coffee mug on somewhere lying around. But no, they did a really good job. Like I said, it felt like it was a low budget indie film, but it felt like it was
they cheated.
Right.
Yeah. You can feel the independent aspect of it, but you also saw parts where they got the best bang for your buck in the production. And that's why I was kind of trying to toss you the alley-oop on, is like, if you didn't know, it is an independent film, but it certainly doesn't feel like it. You know, there's no blemishes in the cinematography, in the editing. It's just a super solid film from point A to point B.
I mean, even so, was like the opening drone shot where they're like following the car. That was probably the only thing I was like, okay, if we're trying to keep this kind of accurate, like that shot shouldn't be there. But okay, but all right. But no, it was pretty good. It looks good. I mean, especially with it being filmed in what is this? It wasn't 4K, but like it's regular. What is the ratio here? It's like what 235. 235 ratio that it has it in, like I said. But I thought this was gonna be a movie where they kind of kept that 70s 80 aesthetic to the film look too, but no, it didn't. It still looks like a modern day.
I'm glad it didn't, because sometimes I feel like that becomes his own character. Right. This very character driven is where the focus need to be, and that's where I want to finally get a chance to talk about what's going on with this film, because you have this hitman Donald, who's played by the fantastic Éric Bruneau. who you may have seen recently in the film The Fall of, it's not recently, but one of his notable projects in The Fall of American Empire. He again plays this character Donald, who truly is a notorious underworld hitman, and he is tasked with the impossible order to eliminate his own brother for the mob boss Claude. But when some things happen, detectives get a hold of Donald and offer him a way out by flipping him, turning him into an informant in order to bring down Clyde, which ultimately puts him in this peril between loyalty and survival. So let me just make this very clear. This character, Donald, is completely ruthless. He is not shy to pull the trigger, and any and everybody can get it. So when you start to say him killing his own brother, he would never. Well, this whole build of this film absolutely will have you feeling it's on sight when he sees him, because that's just the type of person he is. But as Terrell hinted at earlier, or very blatantly said, by the end of this film, you go from like, man, this guy is ruthless, I don't like him, he's terrible, to like, oh wow, I actually kind of feel bad for him. Like,
Right.
like he didn't deserve this, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't want to give too much away, but he is a hitman. So understanding as a hitman, he's being ordered to do these jobs. So like, you know, this is a person that is, and everybody has a choice in life, but like, you know, understanding he's operating in the sense of like, this is my job, this is what I have to do, and I don't know any better. But with that being said, yeah, it's a fantastic performance by Éric with the character Donald, because by all means, you hate the guy, you start to feel sympathetic for the guy, then you're like, man, throw him away and lock him away and throw away the key. And then you kind of like, dag, man, he need to be with his family, you know, who, you know, you start worrying about what's going to happen with his brother. Like you get all those emotions. And I think that's just driven by just Éric's performance alone. And then, you know, there's other folks in the cast, but when there's a hitman involved in the story, don't get too invested with some of these characters, because they may not be around for long. But other than that, like, listen, the film is brutal. It's very shocking and very unsettling at times, because certain events happen while you're just not expecting it. And I think, again, when you talk about foreign films, they take certain liberties that American films wouldn't. So I say that to say that any and everybody could get it. No one's safe. There's no character. There's no gender. There is no sex. There is any and everybody. It's equal opportunity for anybody to get got. And when they get got, it could be brutal. It could be surprising. It's all of that in here. So like, you know, with that, I enjoyed it, because like it just kind of kept you guessing. And as I said in the very beginning, Donald, who's again in this very unthinkable task, you just don't know where he's going to go, what he's going to do, who he trusts, where's his loyalty aligned with. Is he going to stay with the feds? Is he going to stay with the mob? You know, you just don't know. You're given all of these different, like, sort of almost possible trajectories with this character, but you just don't know until the film is completely over. And once it is completely over, you stay through the credits, because that's when you start to get the updates after the events of this movie in terms of the character and what's next for the character and everybody involved with the character, because I don't want to give you the fate of any characters and anything of that sort. So that's how I'll put that. So anything else you want to add with this film? Because I rest my case on this one.
Yeah. I mean, I want to say too, like, you definitely know. Like I said, I didn't watch the trailer for this. We went into this blind, so going into this, everything was a surprise. I knew how the direction was going to go. But one of these things I really noticed is the big difference in Canadian law in the 1970s and 1980s. Not a spoiler, but the sentence is definitely only in Canada, because anywhere else, yeah, it probably would have been a chair. But Yeah.
I'll say this too. Like also too, like it seems like the feds can promise way more than they will ever promise in
Yeah, I was
America.
just like, wait, what? We could do we working on something. We could do that. Okay, yeah, you can't do that now. I'm like, where was the lawyer, man? It was like one lawyer like the entire movie. But
Yeah.
like, no, this is a good ride, man. Definitely something to watch. Like I said, we'll have you on the edge of your seat the entire time. Like you said, you don't know who's gonna get got. Who can you trust? Who's your family? And that's who's your real family. Who do you put your loyalty to? That's what this entire movie is talking about. You know what I mean? Is your loyalty to the money? Is your loyalty to your blood? Is loyalty to the job? But this movie definitely takes you in so many different directions, man. You like I said, you definitely feel sorry for Donald. By all said and done, even though he is a ruthless killer. So that's probably the first time I've seen a movie where I'm like, oh, you know what? It's not that bad, but it's a pretty solid movie, man. I would definitely watch it again.
Make sure you have a little bit of a morality check, considering that you're feeling bad for somebody that definitely isn't a good person. But
Cops real nice too. Like, yeah, a cigarette. What's up? I'm like, all right. So
yep. That's no here nor there though. But folks, definitely this is the film I think you should check out. I would absolutely suggest that you check this out again as it comes to digital and on demand. April 19th. Jump in the comments, let us know your thoughts about this film, Dust for a Hitman. And as always, stay tuned for more reviews and content right here at Big Go Belt Media very soon. See you.